All right. Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting. How many times have I done this intro and I just screwed it up? Let's try it again. Hello. And welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for the knitting community. And we do it with a twist of both the frivolous and the frugal. And I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
Hello, and I am Frugal Miss Penny. I am the oldest in the birth order, and we are so glad you're joining us today. We have 2 other members of our team. We have Faithful Nikki, who is number 3 in the birth order, our statistician, cheerleader, and all things organizational. And we also have our sweet niece, Fearless Miss Brianna. She is the daughter of number 7, and when possible, she joins us. So you won't see her during this episode, but we hope you tune in again, and that way you'll have a chance to see the beautiful things she's creating. Oh, and hello to all of you who are returning viewers. It's so good to have you back with us. It's been a while since we've podcasted, so we're excited to see you. And to those of you who are tuning in for the first time, what a treat to have you sit and knit with us. You don't know the routine, but I'm going to share it with you right now. Grab your favorite note-taking device, your knitting, and your sense of humor, and join us for episode 85 of the Frivolous and Frugal Podcast. Take it away, Dawn.
Well, let's talk about what is around your neck. So,
because we know it will only be there momentarily. It is a cowl that I knit, and I knit it as a gift, and I'm not sure I'm going to give it away. It is called the Annie cowl. You can see the beautiful texture. It's a pattern written by Jane Richmond. I knit it in Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock in the Breakthrough Star Shot on US 9s. And on the Frugalometer, I give it $4 for price for the fiber and $1 for the pattern, $1 for the pattern.
So we have quite a few new subscribers. Do you want to explain what the Frugalometer is?
Oh, yes. Since you have a sweet twist of both the frivolous and the frugal in this podcast, we have a self-created meter that we use to rate or evaluate the cost and the value of both the fiber and the pattern. $1 means woohoo! It is an absolute bargain and something that Frugal Miss Penny would be all over. If you have $2, if anything gets $2, it means, yay, it's a good value, but not nearly as celebrated as a $1. $3, it's, this is a bit on the pricey side, but still, for what I'm knitting, a good value. If it is given $4, it's like, yikes, it's getting a bit pricey. And $5 means, woohoo, this is frivolous. And there is only one in this podcast who is doing woohoo when she sees $5 signs. So there you have it, a quick description.
And, you know, frivolous and frugal is to our world, right?
Absolutely.
So your frivolous, my frivolous, and Penny's frivolous could be totally different. So if you think just about where you are right now, I say knit with the best yarn you can. Absolutely. Whatever that is. There were times when we were chatting, I forget where we were, that knitting is a craft based on discretionary spending.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So there were times in life where we had no discretionary money, so we knit with what we had, or maybe yarn that wasn't so expensive. And there were times where, you know, we could afford a little bit. So that has been ebb and flow through our whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, Penny's Frugalometer stays pretty consistent. There is nothing consistent in my life. So what I give it this time, I may not give it next time. So I would trust her Frugalometer far more than mine for consistency. What is around my neck? Because I'm sure that's what Penny was just going to say.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
This is the Colorshift. It is a pattern by Carina Spencer. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. This is my second one. It is a pattern that I knit using all leftover yarns. And obviously this is my color wheel, right? Red, black, white. This was leftover from the Around the Corner shawl I did earlier this year, and definitely my last Stephen West shawlography. I would have no idea the exact names of the yarns. So I'd have to even go back to look what yarns I used in those projects. It's a pattern that is very uniquely created. It starts off with holding 2 strands of fingering weight together. Eventually you add the third, and toward the end you add the fourth, and you keep increasing needle sizes as you go. So you start with the US 6 and increase through a 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I literally am just an inch short of what the pattern called for, but I was out of yarn. So that is so nice to see all of that yarn finished now. I have a gray one. The gray one, I always say, is by far the most often knitwear that, how do I say? It's what I wear the most that I've knit. I love it just like this. If I get cold, I can snuggle it up. If I get hot, I can take it off. I tend to wear a lot of black, so it works well for that. So I love this pattern. So on the Frugalometer, as far as the pattern, I'd probably give it a $2 sign, but I don't know what to call the yarn because it's all left over. So let's give it a 1.
Absolutely. Look at you.
I've never done that before.
Let the record so reflect that you have one item with only $1 sign.
And we're done. Thank you. Okay. See you next time.
For the record, I just have to say that style is very flattering on you. I don't know that I noticed that before, but that's just very flattering. So I say wear it every day.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
And I probably will. That's great. And what is your Miss Opal wearing?
Well, Opal is wearing, look, my First Cowl by Frivolous Dawn. And what a delight it was to knit it. I used stash yarn. It is Rowan Ultra Wool Superweight DK. And I knit it. Should I take it down so people can see?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. I don't have a picture in Ravelry yet of that, but I will soon get it. You can see that it's very nicely ribbed at the top and at the bottom. The colors in this are Anthracite, Snow, and Kiss, and I knit it on a US size 8. So I use stash. So obviously, first initial purchase was a little pricey, about, I'm going to say $4 signs, but since it was stash, $1 sign maybe, and priceless for the pattern.
No, we've never published it. So if you're interested in the pattern, send me an email. It has been tech edited. And I use that for beginning knitting. So it's a nice way to start knitting in the round. So
absolutely.
Will we ever?
What?
No, that's work if we want to publish it. I know.
I don't. Yeah. Anyway, maybe someday that could be something you put on your bucket list. Publish a pattern.
Okay.
But something you can check off your bucket list is that beautiful shawl. Oh, that Ruby is sporting.
It is finished, and I'll talk about it in finished objects, but that is Papillon, and it is off the needles. So, yeah. No, I'm not going to go there. Okay.
Nope, not until
there. So what is on your needles? So what are you working on?
Well, since our last podcast, I cast on a blanket. So what I'm doing differently this year, I asked my grandchildren to tell me what they wanted me to knit for Christmas. And then the 2 older sisters in one family chose a pattern and a color for their baby sister. And so here it is. I am knitting the basket weave. I'm in the middle of a row. The basket weave baby blankie by Jean Adel. And it actually comes from a leisure arts book called Precious Knit Blankies for Babies. Obviously earning a $1 sign on the Frugalometer. And the fiber $1 sign, I am knitting with Cascade Cherub Aran, and I'm knitting double. and knitting it on a size 10. So an older sister picked the same pattern but different yarn. So I'm going to try to finish this and cast on the sisters.
Now, when you have gone from smaller needles now to larger needles, any hand issues? Like, do your hands fatigue or get achy? You've noticed it? You haven't noticed?
Well, I haven't noticed that in fatigue, but I will tell you that it aggravates my thumb joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested that our brains can figure out that difference, because it doesn't look like that big of a difference till you literally feel it. Somebody said the same if you're knitting with fingering weight and then you just moved like to Aran. Wow, what a huge sensory difference.
I would agree. And I'm doubling my Aran, so I can definitely tell a difference in that respect.
And when you held it up to the screen, you could really see that pattern, that stitch definition. So
it's an old classic pattern. I bet all of us have knit the basket stitch at least once or twice.
And it's a great one to go back to for things just like you said, for a blanket.
Pretty easy for brainless knitting. So what's on your needles right now?
The cowl that never ends. No, that's not the name of it. Although that could be a great pattern name. Let's think about that. Okay. So I am doing the Inclination Cowl by Andrea Mowry. It is a paid for pattern on Ravelry. Here's what I mean. So according to the pattern, I have 40 rows to go. So last night I pulled out the schematics. I'm already an inch longer than it's supposed to be. So I'm just going to end it. So that tells me my row gauge is off.
Okay.
But it is a technique of half fisherman's rib. And so it's one of those rare times where I need a right side row marker as well as a wrong side row marker, because you do different patterns. Now, the reason I laugh that it's the cowl that never ends, I have done more tinking on this cowl than I have maybe even on Papillon. And that's because when I don't know about you, but sometimes when you're knitting, your brain wanders. I instantly start going into brioche. So that is where my brain is. So I'm thinking the next time, if I were to redo this, I don't know if I ever would, I'd probably teach a class in this, but I think it'd be fun to do a brioche cowl next if that's where my brain keeps going. But a little details on this pattern. I am using Queensland yarn. The line is called Rainbow Beach, and I'm using 2 different colorways. And I wonder if I could show you that. Mine are not high contrasting, but I like the look of them. So you can see a little bit of the contrast here.
Yes, you're right. There is not much. Did you do a black and white photo?
I didn't. And what I'd heard people talk about with this is either find 2 complementary colors or 2 opposing, because it's hard because the colors shift. Now, if you were a new knitter, here's what I wouldn't do. Do you see where this pink is in both of them? That's tough to read your knitting. So in my famous black and white, what I usually do on everything, easy to read your knitting. But this one has some areas in the cowl where the pink is pretty dominant, like through here.
Mm-hmm.
So new knitters, I think I would recommend higher contrast. Now the pattern did use spin cycle. And so for a little more frugal, I've never knit with the yarn. The people I know who have knit would have liked it. Not sure I have a big desire to do that, but I may someday. So definitely Queensland Rainbow Beach is a more frugal option. But then what people are doing it with now that's even a more frugal option is Cascade Heritage Wave. Just pick 2 skeins. You pick the degree of contrast you want. But as you know, these slowly change colors. I have no way of guessing when those colors are going to meet. So, but overall happy with this. I just started the I-cord bind off. Like, look at, I'm just that far into it.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully I can work on that. I should be able to do a 3-stitch I-cord while we're podcasting.
We look forward to seeing it as a finished object in episode 86.
Yeah, so frugalometer, I gave the pattern 2 because I bought it on a sale, and I gave the yarn a 3 on the frugalometer. So I'm going to take a wild guess you're still monogamous.
I still am. Yes, ma'am. So what else is on your needles?
Okay, like I needed more to cast on, but yes, I did. I don't think you've been seeing this one, Penny. Let's see. This is Squaropolis by Maximum Cyr.
Oh, Dawn. I don't think I saw that in person, did I?
I probably can't work on it too much in person. A few people at the meetup were working on it. This is a triangular shawl started at the base and I'm working my way up. The two yarns, the black is a Cascade, and this is a new to me, Cascade Pacific Sport.
New to me as well.
The gradient that you're seeing in there is a Zower ball. It was a leftover Zower ball when I did that number 29 flowery scarf. I bought an extra skein. And so, and you know what? I didn't put that in the show notes, Penny, so I'll have to add it. On
Okay.
the project page in Ravelry, you would be able to see the color name, but that is a edition 6 Zower ball by Shopple. I am using a US 5 and a US 6. I called the pattern 2 on the frugalometer, and I called the yarn 2. Now I took this on vacation with me and I grabbed Rowan Soft Alpaca DK for the black, and it was so much thicker than the Zower ball. It just wasn't going to work. So I just had to stop by a yarn store where I bought this. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Okay, so let me ask a quick question, sis. I've never knit one of Maxim's patterns. Do you like the way it's written?
In the beginning, no. And here's why. There's a weird thing you do on the end. And let's see if I can explain it. You know how a pattern will tell you to bring the yarn forward.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm telling any secrets here. So I brought my yarn forward and then it said, slip the next 3 stitches yarn to the back. Your yarn's in the front because you just told me to put it in the front. So I bring the yarn forward, slip 3 stitches. Now I have to take my yarn back and it goes over those 3 slip stitches. And to me, visually, so I kept tearing it out. I was sending messages because there's a few of us doing this. And basically they said, trust the pattern. Now, had I read the whole pattern, that becomes critical at the end when you go to pick up stitches to I-cord all the way around.
Okay.
I did not read the whole pattern. So
All right.
my bad. And you know what? It looks nice on the back too.
It is gorgeous. I like that.
Yeah, all slip stitches, people. Anybody can knit it. It is really slip stitches. But lately I am into geometrical things. Look at this.
I know.
So that is on my needles. I would love to say that'll be done by the next podcast, but I don't know.
Okay.
And then
No pressure.
the cast on from the meetup was we did a Campside cast on any of Alicia Plummer's Campside patterns. So this is actually the Campside. It is a shawl. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. There are, I think, 8 total Campside patterns now. And people were knitting all kinds of things. There's a cardi, there's a poncho, there's a swancho, there's a wrap. And Miss Joyce from 3-Ply did this, was it a year ago or so, in a pink Rowan felted tweed.
Yes.
Fell in love with it. So now this is not a new pattern. It's been out for a while. But let me give you a few more details about this. This is a yarn that was dyed by Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, Miss Lynn. She joins our Tuesday night Zooms. She's a lovely dyer. She was trying a sport weight yarn for a while, so I ordered this. The CL Sport is the base. I couldn't think of that word. And it is Well-Worn Jeans is the name of the colorway.
I like that.
You know what? I think I could get into sport weight yarn. And I've never knit with Targhee. This is 90% Targhee wool. So
What do you like about it?
it is plump. It has a high twist. I think I'm getting great stitch definition. Look how nice it lays. And it's tonal. Gosh, I can see this over a jean jacket or a white jean jacket. Pink, whatever. So details as far as the needle size, you use a US 6 and a US 7. I gave the pattern a 1. Okay, that's twice today. Let's stop this stuff. Let's stop these shenanigans. And then I gave the yarn $3 signs. And Lynn is an independent dyer in the western part of Colorado. And we chat a lot. She's got an autistic daughter. So we chat a lot about different programs for our kids and kind of some mama bonding there. So
Absolutely.
that is all that is on my needles.
Oh, wow.
I know.
But I have a hunch you've got quite a bit off your needles.
Yeah, I do. But how about you?
I have 2 items off my needles, but I don't have anything to show because I've already given them away. You can look at my Ravelry project page. One of them I finished was that christening ensemble for our new granddaughter. I just have to tell you, if you look at the pictures, I knit it in Plymouth Dream Baby. It was in the white colorway, obviously $1 sign for the fiber and one for the pattern because I knit it out of a book. I think I knit that on a US size 6. So I did the bonnet, the booties, the gown, and the blanket, and it was called Angel Lace Set. That was the name of it. If you look on Ravelry, you will see the back of her gown. I removed 4 buttons from her mama's wedding dress, put them on the back of the gown. So I told my daughter-in-law how she needed to take them off in the event that her daughter wanted to wear her wedding gown. Snip them off the christening gown and put them back on the wedding dress, and we'll find substitute buttons for those. So, yep, that's one thing off my needles. And the other, I'll just mention it, Dawn, because you have a couple of items. I knit that heirloom baby blanket, requested again by my daughter-in-law. Knit it for the first time. I'd never knit with Bernat yarn. I'd never knit with it. Very frugal, very cost effective. Knit it in the natural colorway. Bernat is now, I think, produced by Yarnspirations, which was new to me. Had never realized that before. But I knit that in Super Value yarn. It's a pretty blanket. You can see pictures in Ravelry of that as well. Used sizes 5 and 6, had an applied border. And so I believe that I really had the opportunity to practice seaming because I knit 7 panels, seamed them, and did an applied border. So it was very nice. And that pattern was written by Rosa, and I can only find it on Etsy. And you want to talk about a $1 sign? It's a $1 sign.
Wow, very good. I remember you said it was in panels, so what a great practice for seaming, like you said.
Was. And I want to become a better finisher. So that was good. All right. I want to see what's off your needles. I'm waiting with bated breath.
Before people think I knit fast, I don't. It's been a month since we've podcasted. So, all right. So,
that's fast. Anyway, go ahead.
I don't think you've seen this, Penny.
No. What?
Graceful is done.
Oh no, you did. I haven't seen it.
Look,
Dawn.
that knot, some of the most stunning lace.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, wow. It's a pattern by Callie Monster, I think. Let me get that. Yeah, it is Callie Monster from Monster Knits. So it was knit, you start off with one of these lace panels, and then you knit toward the center, put those on hold, and then do the same. And then the way she joined these two together was fascinating. This is the yarn that is in the picture of the pattern. I got a little crazy stretching it. Do you see it?
Mm-hmm. It's screaming, eek.
It was. This was Emma's yarn. And the Hella Hank is the base I used. And gosh, it is just so pretty. Let's see. Jackie O was the colorway knit on a US 4 and a US 5. Angela did this. Peggy did this. Peggy, we all did, I think, the same colors, or at least the same color family. This is one I'm not going to wrap around my neck. I'm just going to let it hang over the shoulders. But could you see this next to a black dress?
Please wear that to the wedding.
I might, but I already have something else on the needles for the wedding. All right, I'll change halfway through.
I might borrow yours for the wedding then.
Did I have that backwards? I think I showed it to you backwards to
It
start.
doesn't matter. It's gorgeous. I don't care if it's inside out and upside down.
I love Emma's yarn. It called for this silk base, and I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't order it. And the Hella Hanks are 150 grams. So I love this. I've yet to wear it. Gosh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So frugalometer, let's see what I gave it. I gave it a 3 for both. 3 for the pattern and 3 for the yarn. You know what? It gives me an itch to do lace. I don't know if I'd want to do an entire lace project, but what is it about lace in a pattern? It just kind of, I don't know, ups the game a little bit.
It does. I think it brings an element of elegance.
All right, so over my shoulder is Papillon. It's a paid-for pattern by MarinJaKnits or MarinJaKnits. There's the back of it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, is that beautiful?
We've seen a few of them lately. Irene and Joyce are working on, Irene's is done. I got inspired by 2 ladies from the meetup last year, right? Miss Lynn and Miss Judy. That is Chroma's, Knit Picks Chroma, and the Lupine is the colorway. The black is also by Knit Picks. It is in the gloss base and in black. Gloss has a little bit of silk in it. Chroma is a long running gradient. Wow. It knit up fast for me. I think I did it in like 20 days, but we were traveling, so I had lots of time. All short rows, easy to follow. But I thought I had an error in it, so I've set it aside until
Messed with your brain, didn't it?
until I looked at everybody else's at the meetup, and I'll just turn this around so you can see it. Yep, so I did include what they called pods at the end, these little pink bumps. That was optional. I'll tell you, Chroma yarn is a thick and thin yarn. I did not know that. I restarted multiple times because I thought my gauge was off, and here it was. Now, Chroma is a single ply, or it's not plied, it's a single yarn, and so it definitely plumped up a little bit. The pattern was written for Earth Yarn Unique. I'd be tempted to do it in that because that's a high twisting yarn. Now, I say tempted. I have no plan to knit one of these in the near future. There's a poncho now with this on it called A Flutter. Maybe in the future, if I do that, I would do it in Unique. But I'm very happy with the black gloss too. I'll definitely be using that base more. So
Beautiful, Dawn. Beautiful. Striking. It's just striking.
if you're interested in it, I have multiple cheat sheets that if you contact me, I will gladly share with you. Some people have shared them with us on Ravelry, and then Joanne from Magpie's Cottage created a cheat sheet for the first 2 of 3 sections, and I just completed it for the 3rd. So this year, the pattern calls for the short rows to be done in wrap and turns. There are cheat sheets out there if you would like to do the German short row. And so again, I gladly share those with you. I feel much better now that I know there's not a mistake in it. And to me, it was a glaring mistake, but I only, so I'm not going to point it out because that's what knitters do.
That's right. We're turning the corner on that, aren't we?
Yeah, by far the most expensive single pattern I've ever bought. So $14 or $15 for one pattern. Highly worth the money if you think about how this was written. It was brilliant. It is tech edited. It's been knit by thousands, and kudos. She also now has come out with a cowl, and she's come out with a smaller version of this. And she also has come out with some amazing geometric patterns. So if you're into the geometric like I am, MarinJaKnits is a great person to look at her patterns.
Can I hop in for just a second? You said something that I think kind of captures the whole idea of the frugalometer. $14 sounds like a lot, and some people might want to peg their frugalometer to a $5 sign on that. But when you talk about value and all the support you get, for me, that brings my frugalometer back over to the $1 or $2 sign because there's value there for me, right?
She says in the pattern, don't read ahead. You'll get confused. Brilliant. I would have.
Uh-huh.
Also wrote the pattern. Now, here's the one thing. I try to use Knit Companion when I can.
Uh-huh.
There were like 3 different places you followed along in the pattern because they were like checkpoints for you, like stitch counts. She tells you where to place your markers, how important that is. She says if you're stuck, you need to take a picture because that helps her. She labels each of these rows very clearly on the pattern or each of the sections. So I can't imagine the work that went into that pattern. If you want to see some stunning colorways, now you could have used 6 or 7 different mini skeins if you wanted to. I just used a slow changing gradient. So it is striking. Bucket list. Yep. I'm over it. I will wear it.
Oh, good. I think you should because it is striking.
I think I'm just going to buy everything black from now on and just wear.
Hey, there's something to be said for that simplicity.
Papillon is the name of that pattern, the butterfly shawl. All right, and just a couple more things. Oh yeah, too many more things. Oh, look
Keep
at these.
going. We want to see all of them. Woo, Christopher.
Christopher McGovern. Okay, can I start calling him my dear Christopher?
Yes, you may.
My dear
Well, I don't think he'd mind. Let us know.
This was a pattern he gifted us. How nice is that? It's the Cable Guy socks. Whoa, look, and I don't hand knit socks. So what does that tell you?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I did do 2, and the cables are correct on the outside. A couple modifications. I did fish lips kiss heel because that fits my foot the best. And then I took the rounded toe off of Irene Designs pattern in her Get Shorty socks because I just kind of like that whole rounded toe. This yarn was in stash, but if I had to guess, it's Malabrigo sock. The reason I say that, it's a singles.
Okay.
Nope, it's not a singles. I lied. It's a twist yarn, but there is no nylon in it. So Malabrigo sock has taken some heat through the years that you can't call it a sock yarn if there's no nylon in it for stability. So I will be real interested to see how it wears. Now, people who love Malabrigo sock say it wears just like all other sock yarn. And so that I will let you know if it starts to pill or not. I guess Malabrigo's coming out with a yarn in this fall that's 80-20. So what is this color? I don't know. I don't know if it's Ravelry Red, maybe?
I don't know, but it's beautiful. Deep, deep red. Definitely your color.
Ooh, all right. I think I need a pair of Birkenstocks. Okay, let's wear some hats. Oh, did I give you details on that? Okay, so that was knit on a US 1.5. And here's where trust the pattern. I knit all my socks on a US 1. So I'm thinking, why would I go up to a 1.5? Exactly why. The cables. It
There
fits
you go.
exactly like my socks on a US 1. And I said to a few people, do I really need this cable coming down the foot? Nobody's going to see it. It would have changed the sock, right? So again, brilliant, Christopher.
Thank you for being so gracious, Christopher.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
He's got some
You can follow him at Professor Pearl,
right
on
on
Instagram.
Yeah, but he would love that too. He's got a lot of other patterns out, but again, he graciously gifted that. So priceless on the frugalometer for the pattern and the yarn. I'm going to have to go 1 because I have no idea what it is. All right. Now,
for the record, this is the most $1 signs you've ever had in an episode.
I know.
Just saying.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Why is my allotment? Is it on here? I don't see it.
Yeah, it's on the notes. It's at the very top.
Oh, wait. This is the allotment hat.
Yeah.
Like it.
Ooh.
Again, I copycatted from 3-Ply Ladies. I don't have it on my notes, Penny. Who's the designer?
Actually, it's by Virginia Sattler-Reimer or Reimer. I would say it could be pronounced either way. You knitted in Malabrigo Rios in the denim colorway, which I really like that colorway. On US sizes 5 and 6. And for the frugalometer, you gave it 3 on the pattern, $3 signs, and then $2 signs for the yarn.
It has a nice texture in here. I'm losing it in the tonality of the yarn.
Oh, well, that's one of our discussions we often have, isn't it? The yarn has to make sure it doesn't fight with the pattern.
I hadn't
but
worked,
we can still see it.
I hadn't worked with Rios for a while. How nice. I will definitely do that again. So that is the allotment hat. All right. Last but not least, oh, let me get my mannequin here. Lynn from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts designed a colorway for us for our meetup this past weekend. And it's called
Nice, Lynn.
It's called Frivolous and Frugal. So the red, black, and white for Penny, or for me, what am I saying? Red, black, and white for me, the blue for Penny, and red, white, and blue for Nikki. And so this is the Muscle Burrow by Ysolda Tig. As you know, definitely a favorite hat pattern of mine. This is one skein of her sock base, 80/20. I used every inch of it. Oh, I love it, Lynn. I love it.
Me too.
We will put up a coupon code on the screen and you can get it for a discount. I did order some more, so it should be coming. She'll dye it in any of her bases too, by the way. So Lynn, thank you. It warmed our hearts. We gave out samples to mini skeins she sent along for people at the meetup. When you go to her website and you see her swatch is not self-striped. It is speckled. So this must have been my gauge.
Mm-hmm.
On a US 3 adult medium size. And again, what I did was I weighed the skein, 115 gram skeins, by the way. I knit the increases, then I weighed it again. So I used 12 grams on the increases. So I knit until I had 12 grams of yarn left. And then I did the decrease. So it was a nice way. And it, for me, plenty long. I love.
Very nice. I do too. Thank you so much, Miss Lynn, for being so gracious.
So, Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, US 3, Musselburgh, paid for pattern by Ysolda Tig on Ravelry. Pattern, I don't know if it's on here. That's a 3 maybe on the pattern.
For your frugalometer, let me see here. I'm going back to our notes. It's not on our notes, but I'll look at. You'd say a 3, okay.
And Lynn gifted Penny and Brianna and I a full skein. So thank you, Lynn. Priceless.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
So that is what is off my needles. So what is happening? Or no, we should kind of say, what are you learning?
You know, as we were talking before the podcast, I thought I was learning something, but in reflecting with knitting with the aunties and in our discussion today, I think I am relearning. That's not a bad thing, right? Relearning, revisiting about the seasons we have in our knitting. And I think that's something that early on as a knitter, I wasn't attentive to. But we see seasons where maybe they're mohair seasons, or maybe they're brioche seasons, or maybe they're geometric seasons, like in your case. For me, I think I am seeing seasons in what I'm learning. So I have been learning different techniques, but I'm also learning how to, I don't know, perfect is the wrong word, but techniques I already know, like the seaming. For a while, I just let my seaming be my seaming, but now I'm paying more attention to it. I'm being more attentive. I want my projects to look a bit more finished. So this is a season for me to revisit some of the techniques I've learned and to gussy them up a little bit, if you will. Right?
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, because I am much more a process knitter than I am a project knitter. And I like this season. It's a good season for me. It keeps my attention during my knitting. And I even think it's just good to help me stay intrigued in this craft/art that I'm in. Yeah.
And I'm learning, it's interesting, kind of along the same line. I was up to 7 things on my needle, 7 projects, active working projects. I have no whips, by the way. I mean, as far as UFOs. So what I have is active. And I found it a little hard to stay focused. I don't know if I could ever be monogamous, but 7 is hard to manage. I try to knit on every project every day. So my rule of thumb is knit 4 rows a day. I learned that from Math Patty years ago. So, and I do keep track of all the knitting I do every day in a journal, but 7 was just hard to manage. Now, I didn't feel pressure. If I don't get that done, it's not like I say tomorrow I have to double it. Nope, tomorrow's a new day. But
That's good.
I enjoy all the different projects, and I think I have more enjoyment, if you will, with fewer things on my needles. Now, this will be a surprise to nobody, a confession. I sucker for double dog dares. Right? So there are a few coming up that I need things off my needles. So if you would like to share in my agony of double dog dares, which means you should be doing what I'm doing, right? September 1st, let's see, the half and half triangle shawl by Pearl Soho. Okay, so that's a big shawl if you want to cast on. Oh, I think Pearl Soho has a sale going on too if you want to use their yarn. Free pattern, by the way. But so I want to do that, but I need to get some of this off, so I enjoy that process. And there's going to be other knit alongs. You know, we're only a few months off of the Stephen West mystery. It's hard to show up here, but there's a new cowl pattern that came out by Carina Spencer called the twofold. I want to do that, but I've got this cowl on the needle. So I'm going to try not to cast that on until this is done and I can focus then on the new. So, yep, focus for me. And, because I really enjoy knitting. I feel no pressure to get things done in any time frame. I just love it all. And the ladies at knitting yesterday said to me, have you ever said there's a pattern that you don't like? I guess not. I want to knit them all. So I didn't realize that until every time somebody shows me something, it's like, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. So that's what I'm learning. Stay focused, enjoy the process. Yeah.
Cool.
Season.
Very cool. Well, I think that leads us now to what is new at Frivolous and Frugal. And to sum it up, nothing. Well, just a couple of things. Okay. We are just going to touch on a couple of cowls and things that are ahead. We're not going to go into any depth because this was not a episode where we were doing giveaways. So if you're interested on Ravelry, please hop in on the Finish, Fix, Flip, or Frog It cowl. That is ongoing. And for those of you who are new, that is where you can post any project that you either fix, frog, flip, or finish, or have you finished? And when we do our drawings, we do it from that thread. So if you're interested, please do that. Our next giveaway will be episode 88. We're ongoing with the Give a Boost cowl. That's where you choose a pattern that just doesn't have that many projects posted in Ravelry or at a different site. Again, we have 2 threads for that. We pick from the finished object thread. So if you're interested, please do that. Our next giveaway will be on episode 88. A couple of changes. One is we are ending my Dear Stephen West cowl. It's over. We will close it for submissions, but leave it open so you can peruse people's finished objects. And then Dawn, I think you were going to share a little bit about the other cowls that are going on.
I think the only other one right now is Christmas in July. That will end at the end of August. It is knitting with a Christmas yarn, a gift you got as a Christmas, a yarn you've received as a Christmas gift, or a gift you're knitting for somebody else. We don't have rules like whips and all, whatever, just submit it. It's amazing. Look in there. I did just randomly draw some prizes for both of those last 2 cowls and notified the winners on Ravelry for a free pattern, and everybody got back to me. So, boy, again, inspiration in all of those cowls. I can find myself looking at them and then looking up the designer, looking up the pattern. Gosh, some of them in there have just been amazing. And when I find myself going back to the same pattern several times, that's a clue to me that has stuck with me, and I may want to put it in my queue. Yep. So that is Christmas in July. Many, many podcasters are doing a Christmas in July. So you could double, triple, quadruple dip in many cowls.
Yeah. And we don't mind if you do that for ours, right? Okay. not a big deal. Okay. And then you talked about, is there a new shawl? It's going to be the half and half shawl. Is that going to be a cowl?
I don't think it's going to be an official. We sure can
Okay.
chat about it if I can start a discussion board. Yeah, and so I did order Pearl Soho's yarn, and you'll never guess the colors. It's amazing. Now, not black and white, because I know that's what you're thinking. Black and pink.
Oh, surprise. This is my surprise look.
Now, on our Tuesday night Zooms, we kind of came up with a list of shawls we wanted to knit for the year. And the September shawl was the Gresham wrap. And so there's some ladies here in the area that are going to cast that on, but they've decided to cast it on the first day of fall.
Oh,
that's toward the end of September. So we have ordered those kits, and I don't know the details of that. So, but on the Tuesday night group, that's kind of our tentative plan for shawl knitting.
Now, have I overlooked any other cowls?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. And then I will introduce the next change, but Dawn, if you want to extrapolate upon it, you certainly can. We are going to suspend our Tuesday night knit togethers, Zoom knit togethers, starting in September. We're going to take a bit of a break from that. We will continue those through August, but after that, it's going to be, we have so many family events coming up, and it's just going to be hard to navigate that. So just so you know, Dawn, is there anything else you wanted to say about that?
If you want a virtual event on Tuesday nights, Noelle and Kelly from Knits and Pieces, a podcast, podcasters we got to meet this last weekend, by the way, they have a live event on Tuesday nights. So that will give you some time to maybe try that and see. I don't know how long our break will be. We'll just keep you posted. But due to, like Penny said, due to family events, we are kind of in a, what's the phrase? When push comes to shove, family has to come first. So,
absolutely. Absolutely.
So that will be a little break.
Yes. That is all of our announcements, but we would be remiss if we did not take just a few moments to talk about our mini meetup. Kick us off, Dawn. What are your big takeaways from the mini meetup?
I've heard people say they leave with your cup full, with your heart full, that fed your soul. All of those are perfect words to say. There's something about sitting and knitting with a group of people who are like-minded. And I say that because I get this sense that we're in a world where it's easier to pick out things that divide us. That is what unites us, and that is what we love. So watch. A lot of the other podcasters have talked in great detail about the event. I think I may put together just a little video about the event so that we don't have to sit here and talk about all the ways that we were blessed, and we are grateful, but that needs its own little episode. But when I leave there and I drive home, it is like, wow, wow, and wow. So selfishly, I love spending time with you, Nikki, Brianna, right? So that's important.
Absolutely.
People who I've only seen virtually that I got to see in the flesh and hug them. Amazing old friends, new friends. I may have bought a thing or two. Gosh, I don't know. I just leave there every year thinking, wow, it's amazing that what it is we all celebrate is our love for knitting.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback on you, and I'm sure we'll go into greater detail when we do the separate episode, but I was, and I think I'm speaking for all of us, both Frivolous and Frugal and 3-Ply podcast, because they were like co-sponsors of our Podiversary celebration. I was humbled, literally humbled by the generosity and the kindness of fellow knitters, not only in door prizes, but in their gifts, their donations. Humbled because I thought, oh my goodness, it wasn't something I expected. So we will mention all of you in our separate episode, but we just want to say thank you. And that doesn't seem to be enough, but please hear our hearts that we were just humbled and very, very gracious and very thankful for all of you. So thanks.
Can Kissy,
Go
kissy,
ahead.
huggy, huggy.
Yeah, kissy, kissy, huggy, huggy. There you go. Dawn, please share your honorable mentions.
Well, my family, so my husband, son, and I took a trip, vacation, up through Canada, and so we live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So we drove 4,100 miles, but beautiful scenery. I'm not saying anything about all the vacation things we did, but I strategically made our stopovers where I know knitters are. So we got to spend a night in Regina, Saskatchewan, if I'm pronouncing that right, where I got to meet Grandma Eva and Miss Bonnie. We sat in the lobby of that hotel and knit and chatted, and they shared some beautiful, beautiful knitted objects. So watch for some of those in future knits. What a pleasure, again, to meet people face to face that you only know virtually. We got up in the morning, we knit, we shared gifts. It was, I don't know. I wish I could find the words to express what it means to meet people, that it was knitting that brought us together. I'm not so sure I ever would have met these people had it not been for the Zoom events that we have, or the virtual knit nights. So leaving there, we drove to Calgary, Alberta, where I got to spend 2 days knitting with Norma and maybe have done a little purchasing. Enabler, right? Okay. But again, what a delight to meet her and her friend, Miss Linda. And gosh, you just want to go back. Those 2 days were amazing. My husband and son did the stampede in the zoo while we were knitting. So that was great. We ended up going through Banff, down through Glacier Park, and on the way home across South Dakota. Why would you not stop and knit with Ellen? So I knit with Miss.
Absolutely. Doesn't take two thoughts for that, does it?
I taught her how to brioche.
What?
Sat in the lobby, went out for dinner. Yes, and it's been, she was unable to join the mini meetup this year because of family events, but again, to meet face to face, I left there. Yeah. So my honorable mentions are those ladies who went out of their way to clear their schedules because we happen to be in the area. And so people had to drive to meet us. I appreciate that. I appreciate the time more than words can say. So yeah, that was great. Besides, Lake Louise is beautiful. If you've never been there, Rain Lake. Oh, the mountains were unbelievable. So.
And my honorable mentions will be included in our separate little mini episode about the meetup. All the people who sent little gifts and big gifts, bread ties. Thank you very much. As well as books and patterns. And again, I'm just humbled and will be at a loss for words. So we'll put it in that next episode. Thank you, everyone, for your kindness.
Yeah.
And Nikki too was humbled. Of course, she and Miss Donna are integral parts of our meetups. And what would Nikki say to us this episode caused me to pause and think about it. So I hope it does the same for you. What would Nikki say to us? Well, she would say, self-reflecting can sure bring a warm, fuzzy feeling, whether it's a new stitch or finishing a project, and parenthetically, or spending time with fellow knitters. Share your successes and your heart will be full. So I guess my admonition to all of us is take time this week to encourage someone to share their success with you and celebrate that with them, because it'll fill your heart too. So until next time, until episode 50, what did I say? Or no, 80. I'm sorry, until episode 86. May your week and weeks be filled with a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.